Station, my most excellent friends. Today we are going over the Bill and Ted's Most Triumphant Return. And I don't know how this one slipped past me. I mean, I kind of try to keep up with comic books here and there, but I never saw any promotion for this. And this predates, what was that, Bill and Ted's Face the Music. This is supposed to be a direct sequel after Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. And I gotta say, it's corny, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't know about y'all, memories growing up and whatnot. I think it was there for a year straight. Every weekend, I was probably like, 7? Every weekend, my dad would rent Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and I would play Ghostbusters, and I'd just watch the movie all weekend. I don't know. Is that a thing? I guess. I'm surprised he didn't buy a copy of the VHS. But back then, man, VHS were expensive. Now, this was kind of cool because it has a foreword by Alex Winter, who played Bill, and he talks about how he finally introduced his kid to the film. He said that his kid just sort of knew that his dad was in films, but he didn't quite understand until he started reading this. And he goes, "Wait, you were in Bill and Ted?" And then his son finally sat down and watched it. And what I really liked, and this is a picture of his son watching Bill and Ted for the first time. The one thing that I liked that Alex pointed out is he said that they were still in the process, because remember they were talking about Bill and Ted 3 for a long freaking time. And he said that when Boom came to them with this idea, they were worried because they didn't want to tarnish the lore of Bill and Ted because they were trying to get a third movie off the ground. He said after watching them with it, he had no problems. He even says here, he says, "Thanks, Brian and Jerry and Boom, you killed it." So this was 2015. And this covers, I believe it's all 6 issues. Chapter 1 happens immediately. It even says here, 5 seconds after San Dimas Battle of the Bands, 1991. And this series sort of jumps all over the place in terms of time, so we have to kind of keep that in mind. Now, before we go further, let's talk about who made this book. This is Brian Lynch, Most Excellent Story. Jerry Gaylord doing the resplendent pencils. Jerry Gaylord and Penelope Gaylord doing the outstanding inks. Whitney Koger doing the stellar colors. Jim Campbell, awesome letters. And here's everyone working on the book. And this is special thanks to Most Excellent Scott Proof, Alex Winter, and Peter Carras. So we see that as at the end of Bogus Journey, they're getting ready to do the Battle of the Bands. They still don't know how to play their friggin' instruments, so they use the booth, go into the future, learn, and as the Bill and Ted we've been following go into the past, the future ones come out, and they have like the ZZ Top beards, and they have kids. They're married to the princesses. And one thing, let's. I know I'm kind of deterring, I'm all over the place, but this book brought back some really vivid memories for me because I remember when they announced Bogus Adventure. I don't remember if I saw it in the theater or not. I might have, but I remember waiting for my local video store to get it in stock. And then they only had like 2 copies, and I had to wait for it to get returned. Because believe it or not, back in these days, man, that was a pain in the ass. Because you go run up there, you'd see the box, and you'd pull the box out because they'd have the VHS in a plastic container behind the movie box. And if it wasn't there, you were screwed. And you had to either get on a waiting list and just hope. Like, yeah, there was times that I actually asked my dad if we could stay till, what was it, like midnight or 10 o'clock, whenever they closed, and they were supposed to look at all their return tapes. Many a nights waiting for Bill and Ted's Bogus Adventure or Bogus Journey. And yes, so that movie and An Excellent Adventure, I can recite almost word for word. And so everyone's, crowding them. It's really happening. Your message is spreading. Plus, we want an oversized check in this coupon book with most excellent savings at San Dimas' finest eateries and water parks. Dreams do come true. As long as we work hard and stay true to ourselves, the time machine also helps. I'm not going to lie. And this is right after they set up the key and the gun. So while they're trying to kind of process everything that's just happened, everyone's getting swamped. De Nomolos is getting arrested. "You Cretans have no idea what you're doing. I've seen your future, and it's repulsive. You two have doomed us all. It's not over. The future will belong to De Nomolos." And then Ted's dad, "Sorry about this, son. I should have taken him out a different exit. Seriously, though, shave that thing off your face. You too, Preston." In the days to come, everyone's screaming Bill and Ted, and they're saying, "We can't wait for their second song. I've already got the first one memorized." And that's kind of where the crux of this story happens. Because now they have all these Bill and Ted tribute bands. They're all living together, and they're feeling that pressure of writing a second song. And in the midst of this, while they're trying to figure out who they are in their early stages, they get attacked from the future. This is like a Bill and Ted, what is it? Class trip from Rufus's future. He says, I know what this looks like. Excellent, because we don't. William Theodore, not looking the great ones in the eye. Yes, hi, hello to you. Death, you took my husband last year. It was a great honor. Uh-huh. I'm Danteria Armijo, teacher of San Dimas High, 2645. I teach Bill and Ted 101. There's a class about us? About the founders of our society? Of course there is. And then this little creeper. I unearthed one of the great ones, unmentionables. Dibs. Whew, okay, that's a bit much. But anyway, what they decide to do is they talk to Station, who builds them a new booth, so that they can go to the future. And essentially what the whole plot breaks down to here is they want to go pretend to give a speech, since they see that they're doing time hopping field trips or whatever. So they're going to say, hey, this is us. Can you tell us about our second song? So they can get inspired, because right now they're feeling that pressure. But coming into the future, they come to find out that De Nomolos, teen De Nomolos, let's keep that in mind, is kind of a pariah. And the best part for me was, let's see, where is it? Where is it? Come on. Here we go. So Albert Einstein is doing a class. Yes, they brought him to the future. He goes, okay, class, we're all paired off for our most excellent science experiment. But I can't help notice no one is partnered with Chuck De Nomolos. He's the smartest one here, so let's go. Someone sit next to him. I feel like you all are ignoring me. How about this? If no one partners with Chuck, I will hop back in the booth and return to my original time and take my theories with me. How would you like that? Still with the silence. Really now, is Chuck that bad? So sad, dude. And so essentially, even though this is when De Nomolos was a teen, everyone knows what he's going to pull in the future and try to, and essentially kills them, because he throws the evil robots that he creates, throws them off that mountain, and they have to do the whole shenanigans with death to come back to life. If you guys have never seen it, highly recommend it. But Bill and Ted have seen that he's treated like a pariah, and he's very socially awkward. But what's funny is he actually, come to find out, they're like, well, let's help him. Let's help him fit in. You know, step 1, distraction is complete. Step 2, elimination. No way. Yes way. As soon as this infernal device warms up, wait there, I command you. Where are you? I commanded you. Dean De Nomolos doesn't grow up to be a killer. He's a full-on present tense killer. But we see his Achilles heel. He loves this girl named Claudia. And he goes, hello, Claudia. I didn't see you there. You started the conversation. Good one. Of all my peers, you are the least vile. Stop playing that infernal instrument so that I may properly woo. And she essentially just blows him off. He goes, we were making real progress. You weren't. We were having a moment. No, dude. You two fools have so many stupid friends. Totally, dude. Future you tries to kill a lot of them. And wives too, you have wives, yes. Future you tries to kill them too. I will allow you to help me if it makes you feel better. Follow me, former mortal enemies turn tentative new best friends forever. And Bill is just like, I'm not sure how to read this moment. He meets his family. His dad's the next con. His mom was the probation officer. His brother is something else. He's off the rocker, but because he pretends to do air guitar one out, he fits in. It's crystal flare, blarb, blarb, station off, station face. Don't worry, Chuck. We're going to make you friends, and we're going to help you talk to babes and help you in school. But, yeah, things don't go according to plan. They try to kind of make their own Bill and Ted. What's that thing in school that they always give you in college, and you had to read the rundown of what the year was going to be? Not agenda. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's been so long since I've been to school that I don't remember. But they take him back to Woodstock to try to talk to chicks. And then they take him to the future to learn how to play guitar. He goes, greeting my excellent classmates. Am I late for my speech? And he actually starts to think he's going to be a good guy. Like, you find out that he creates these essentially another set of killer robots to kill Bill and Ted. He goes, oh, horrible timing. Bill Ted 1.0, just horrible. Dude, why does that thing have your head? Dude, my head, look at the other head. And anyway, you see Claudia there? All right, robots, let's rock. You didn't play guitar yesterday. True, Claudia, but yesterday was a long time ago. And we actually think that he's making progress. Well, as the series progresses, we come to find out that Bill and Ted's future darkens significantly. Music is outlawed. Anything tubular or awesome is illegal. And De Nomolos kind of basically took over San Dimas. It's now called San De Nomolos, California. The latter half of the book is kind of building up this resistance. We see Rufus, and he explains what happened in the past. And these guys are kind of stuck because they can't get their hands on a booth because De Nomolos has essentially outlawed any type of time travel, anything fun, anything partying. And towards the end, we get a cool mecha battle. Yeah, I mean, of course, everything has to become happily ever after. And what's kind of neat is after we get this whole story, there's some like one-offs towards the end of the book. They're kind of one stories. We get ones with the good Bill and Ted robots from Station. But what stood out for me, well, we got to talk about this real quick. How Ted's father got with Missy. Because remember, in the first movie, Missy is with Bill's dad. And he's like, yes, Missy, I mean, Mom. And yeah, you just kind of see she's kind of weird. And so this is the story of how Ted and Ted's dad and Missy got together. And it's essentially a car chase. But it's not Missy in control. Because remember, she does seances. And that's kind of how Bill and Ted try to reach out to everyone after they died. And so it's kind of, it's funny. This reminds me of something you'd see like in Mad Magazine or Cracked. But the one that really stood out for me, like I said, there's a whole bunch of one-offs. Oh, hold on. It's towards the very end. There's so many backstories. Is we get the princesses to sort of stand out. And we see that they're part of the band. And she goes, what is it? You're most kind, Elizabeth. Yes, I felt that. That was, as the boys would say, truly excellent. Still left me parched. Perhaps Godfrey can fetch me. Oh, that's right. I've almost forgotten again, haven't I? No servants, no kingdom, no status of any kind. Just this. You must give it time, Joanna. It's been an adjustment for me as well. Besides, you can hardly blame the boys. San Dimas is a far cry from the royal courts. If you've never seen Bill and Ted, they meet Joanna and what's the other girl's name? Elizabeth, back in medieval England. And Rufus just brings them to the future before they're forced to marry the royal ugly dudes. And so they become wives, and they're still adjusting to life in the 80s. Sorry, excuse me. Anyway, these quote unquote fans come back from the future, and we come to find out that they're not exactly who they're supposed to be. And so Joanna and Elizabeth are essentially trying to say, what's my purpose of being here? I know Rufus brought us here, but what does it mean? She goes, the boys may be destined to save the world someday. But right now they're lambs, naive and innocent. They must be protected. Who better than the two have seen their share of attempted coups, revolutions, and toppled kingdoms? I'm happy you found peace, Joanna. Pity it came from dealing with those futuristic, what would Willem call them? Skanks. Yes, but I've managed to read the telephone just correctly. It's a lot of fun. And I will admit, when the nightmare that the last few years were starting in 2020, you guys know what I'm talking about. Bill and Ted's Face the Music came out. And it was good. Don't get me wrong. I love the two girls that played their daughters. They did a really good job. And for the time I didn't know that this existed, I like that the daughters, in a sense, kind of became the key to them creating the song that united the world. What I didn't like was the fact that up until that point, Bill and Ted had essentially estranged themselves from death, kind of broke up the band, so to speak. And they're kind of playing like these one-off shows saying, is this the song that unites you all? It makes them so unsure of themselves. Now, I get in terms of storytelling that that's supposed to happen. But I feel like it really erased everything that Bogus Journey ended with them playing Kiss's rendition of God Gave Rock and Roll to You. Speaking of which, in here, where Bill is talking to a version of himself, they're talking about that. And he goes, yeah, the song to me sounded like a total Kiss ripoff. So I kind of like the meta there. But yeah, Face the Music kind of killed me in that regard. I think it took too long. And in that time, this came out, and I wish I still had them. But if you guys ever read the early 90s Bill and Ted comic books, those things are a freaking acid trip. And if I can ever get my hands back on them, we will definitely go over them. But like, you cut away, like you'll see Bill and Ted, and all this craziness going, like something you see in Mad Magazine or actually Heavy Metal Magazine too. And then they'll swap over to Hell, and you see De Nomolos playing cards with the evil robots and all sorts of people in Hell. And you just think, what the hell's going on? And it was fun, weird. And I say that to say this, that this book, I appreciate that it really captures the spirit of that time period. But after looking at the artwork from the early 90s that had that nice, stark, clean human feeling, a lot of this feels a little too clean for a Bill and Ted comic, in my opinion. Like, I'll even say the covers are maybe a little bit closer to what the old comic books looked like. They just had, not as like Scotty Young feeling, but it had that stark, very dirty ink lines that just added to the intensity of the book. This just feels too clean for me. And a little too quick drawn. Like, I kind of wish that they would have taken a little more time. I miss when comics, again, were more human drawn instead of quick deadlines. It happens. But nonetheless, it's serviceable, and it captures that spirit of what really drew all of us to Bill and Ted back in the day. And that's why a lot of us old farts still will talk about it and go, Station My Dude, or Most Tubular, stuff like that, because it defined our generation. And it was a great film. So if you are a Bill and Ted fan, Most Triumphant Return is definitely a most read. So with that said, if you guys have enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop and see if they have this collected trade in stock, or the individual floppies, or, and this is kind of how I got my hands on this, your local library. And I will say this, I don't know if anybody else's libraries do this, but ours do weekly scavenger hunts. And you'll get a piece of paper and you have to find all the numbered pieces all through the library. And it essentially forces you to go around the entire library looking for these numbers with the letters so that you can earn a prize. But what I liked about it low key that the kids don't know is it forces you to look at all the different shelves. And that's how a lot of every weekend my kid picks out his books that way. And so it's awesome. We get to spend time together, have fun. And I say that because we went by they have two different like graphic novel sections, one for the more adult ones like Scarlet that we went over. And then they have more like YA stuff that's more for everybody. And they had this and I had to grab it. Speaking of, I found they have the big collected trade is about this fat a freaking Trigun. So if you guys want me to go over that, I will definitely check it out. Let me know. So with all that said, if you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate it if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you mind hitting that fancy little station bell next to subscribe, that way as I get to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and I love talking about hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments or the socials, which I'll make sure to the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope you all continue having a most excellent day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.